Imagine pulling up to a gas station, watching the numbers on the pump climb higher and higher, and thinking, there's got to be a better way. Then you see a sleek electric car glide by, and you start dreaming of never stopping at a gas station again. But hold on, are electric cars really the money-saving, planet-saving marvels they're hyped up to be? Or are we all just getting sold a very expensive dream? Let's break this down because the truth might shock you, pun intended. Let's start with the sticker price. The upfront cost of an electric car can feel like a punch in the wallet. The average EV in the US costs around $55,000. For that kind of cash, you could buy a nice gas-powered car and a decent vacation to Hawaii. Sure, there are more affordable options like the Chevy Bolt or Nissan Leaf, but even those tend to be pricier than comparable gas-powered vehicles. Then there's the luxury EVs like Tesla and Rivian, where the price tag might as well come with a sell your kidney option. So why are people still lining up for these things? Here's the pitch: you'll save money in the long run. Electricity is cheaper than gas, true. Maintenance costs are lower because EVs have fewer moving parts, also true. But here's the kicker: depending on how much you drive and where you live, it could take you years to actually break even on those savings. Let's say you're saving about $1,000 a year on fuel and maintenance. If your EV cost you $10,000 more than a gas car, that's a whole decade before you're in the green. And that's assuming you never have to replace the battery, which can cost upwards of $15,000. Yeah, that's a might as well buy another car kind of expense. Now let's talk charging. Sure, plugging in at home is cheaper than filling up at the pump. But what if you don't have a garage? About 37% of Americans live in apartments or housing without a dedicated parking spot. Charging your EV could mean hunting down a public charging station, which isn't always convenient or cheap. Fast chargers can cost almost as much as gas in some areas, and waiting 30-40 minutes for a charge? That's fine if you enjoy spending your free time scrolling TikTok in your car. And then there's the road trip problem. Ever tried planning a long trip in an EV? It's like solving a Rubik's Cube while blindfolded. You've got to map out charging stations, calculate your range, and pray you don't get stuck in the middle of nowhere with 5% battery left. Range anxiety is real, folks. But let's shift gears for a second and talk about the environment, because this is where EVs really shine. Or do they? Yes, EVs produce zero tailpipe emissions, which is fantastic for reducing air pollution in cities. But remember, the electricity that powers your car has to come from somewhere. If you're charging your car in a state that relies heavily on coal or natural gas, your EV isn't as green as you think. It's like eating a salad to stay healthy, but drowning it in ranch dressing. And what about those batteries? Mining for lithium, cobalt, and other materials is an environmental nightmare. It requires a ton of energy and often takes place in countries with questionable labor practices. Plus, when those batteries reach the end of their life, recycling them is a whole other challenge. Sure, EV industry is working on solutions, but right now, we're just kicking the can, or the battery, down the road. But before you throw your EV dreams out the window, let's be fair. Gas-powered cars aren't exactly environmental angels either. From drilling for oil to refining it and burning it, the traditional car industry has been trashing the planet for over a century. EVs are far from perfect, but they're still better for the environment overall, especially if we can clean up the grid and improve battery tech. Here's your mid-video challenge. Are you Team EV or Team Gas? Let me know in the comments. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe. It's free, unlike your next car purchase. Now, here's where things get interesting. Incentives. Uncle Sam really wants you to buy an EV. Depending on the model, you could get up to $7,500 in federal tax credits, plus state and local incentives that can knock thousands more off the price. That can make a big dent in that hefty upfront cost. But don't get too excited. Those credits come with a lot of fine print. They only apply to certain models, income levels, and even where the car is assembled. It's like trying to use a coupon that's expired for the wrong product, and at a store that no longer exists. So, are EVs worth it? Well, that depends. If you've got the cash up front, access to home charging, and live in an area with clean electricity, an EV could be a great choice. You'll save money on gas, help reduce air pollution, and enjoy a quieter, smoother ride. But if you're scraping by to afford one or live somewhere without charging infrastructure, you might want to pump the brakes. Now, let's wrap this up. The real cost of electric cars isn't just about dollars and cents. It's about how much we value convenience, the environment, and the future of transportation. EVs aren't perfect, and they're not for everyone. But they're a step in the right direction, as long as we go into it with our eyes wide open. So next time you see an electric car zipping by, don't just think, wow, that's cool. Think about what it really represents: progress, challenges, and maybe a little bit of greenwashing. Alright, if you found this video helpful or at least mildly entertaining, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who's still on the fence about EVs. And if you've already made the switch, tell us in the comments. Was it everything you hoped for? Or are you secretly missing your gas guzzler? Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay charged!